What's going on, guys? Running it back with another replay for you. And we're here on the CA version of Road to Talabheim, actually. It's going to be a showdown between Lord Baconbane, helming the Lizardmen, and probably the most appropriately named Greenskins player I've ever seen in my life, Brain Damage, bringing in Grom the Paunch. Big wall of Goblin Spears, Orc Boy Spears, very efficient unit, these Orc Boy Spears. They hit really hard against large targets, because they have a pretty good bonus versus large, pretty decent stats otherwise. You know, and with WA, they can actually do some pretty good damage in the front line as well. Savage Orc Arrow Boys backing them up with Squig Herds. Squig Herds, very good to sit on top of the Orc Boy Spears and help improve each unit's consistency in doing damage against the targets that they're respectively good against. We've got the Teeth Robbers. Very rare that you see these on the field, but with the recent changes to the chariots in the game, these guys got a little bit more mass, and maybe a little bit more efficient at actually doing the kind of damage that they're, allegedly supposed to be able to do. We'll have to check them out. Force Goblin Spider Riders and 2 Night Goblin Shamans taking the number 3 objective here. For Lord Baconbane, we've got Saurus Warriors in the front line. Saurus Spear Unit backing them up. A couple of Skink cohorts with the Javelins. Just chilling, getting ready to do a little bit of battle in Bastiladon with Solar Engine, a Rev Crystal, Nakai the Wanderer with Golden Tributes, giving that Vigor Reduction and the Ward Save, which is really nice. The Solar Engine also has a Vigor Reduction aura, so absolutely no worries on that front for the Lizardmen here. And a Skink Priest of Heavens with Wind Blast and Comet of Cassandora. Wind Blast good at getting through the low armor, and Comet for any big, dangerous units like Broken Tusk Mob or Black Orcs and the like that have heavy armor that need to be removed. Skink Skirmishers, they're moving up to the number 1 here, and we'll kick it off for real now. Grom, looking like he's going to go out onto this flank. These Skink Skirmishers, unlike Chameleons, don't have Stalk. So Grom's going to have a really good time hitting in against these guys. He's also sitting here with this new AP weapon strength split. Used to be primarily just base weapon damage. Now he's mostly AP, so his performance should be markedly improved against the Beastmen and a variety of other factions. He kind of struggled in the last patch to really do a whole lot. He was a little haggard. I think the majority AP damage is more appropriate. Double Vindictive Glare going down. We've got a Vindictive Glare Enjoyer out here making a little bit of a name for himself, and the Rev Crystal takes about 1,500 damage there. Quite devastating if you really think about it. Very cheap spell casts from the Greenskins, so they'll definitely be able to get a lot of those off of the course of the game and wear down these Bastiladons, who otherwise will be kind of difficult to deal with just because they're heavy armor for the Greenskins, and they don't have a ton of AP. Bows will be nice, but at the end of the day, it's only 6 armor-piercing damage, and they're pretty poor accuracy, which means that they're not hitting as many shots as, say, some Wood Elves or High Elf Archers might be. Big engagement here on the front line. Saurus Warriors, Saurus Spears. These Saurus Warriors taking fights against Goblin Spears and Orc Boy Spears and the like, trying to grind through, but Squig Herds kind of nipping at their heels and being very disruptive, and really good use out of the Teeth Robbers here in the early game, running over the Skink cohorts, locking them in so they can't throw in time, and Goblin Spears and Squig Herds all over these little Skinks, unfortunately for them, but a really good Comet coming down and laying waste to the Gobbo Spears, doing a lot of damage to the Orc Boys, and a little bit of poke against the Squig Herds and forcing them to rampage against the Saurus Warriors here, leading to them breaking their leadership and routing back, but the wall does go down. So these Saurus Spears and Saurus Warriors gonna struggle a little bit more here. Grom helping out in this fight, getting some nice damage on these very, very cost-efficient infantry units. And it does look like some Coldwind Spear Riders getting a little over-aggressive into the backline. And indeed intercepted by the Bork Boys on their little squealers. Riding around, getting some really nice damage, about 300 value on them. Broken Tusk Mob here too. Very efficient cavalry for the for the Greenskins. Very ironic considering how they play in other Warhammer games. The mobility game, not really necessarily something that you would think of, more just like haggard swarms is how they do it elsewhere. But really nice use out of these guys. They've got a good charge bonus, and they're just flattening the skink cohort. Not getting a tremendous amount of damage on this particular charge. Fortunately for the lizardmen, kind of saving them. The poison probably slowing these guys up just enough and lowering their weapon strength so these skinks weren't completely obliterated there. And the skink skirmisher is getting some really nice fire here. Just laying waste into these heavily armored pigs isn't the worst thing in the world, and they are attracting a lot of attention. Big swarms coming in to try and deal with these guys. Both Bork boys and Grom coming after them, and there's some skink cohort javelins and a Saurus spear moving, or a Saurus warrior, not the spear variant, just a regular guy, moving up to try and buffer out for these little skinks. They need to just keep running back, though. If they stay in this combat, they have very low armor and really poor melee attack and melee defense. They will get absolutely obliterated here. Tattered Colwyn Spear Riders moving over to try and assist Nakai. He hasn't been up to a whole lot this game, but he's here. He's trying to get after Grom, but really nice maneuvering from brain damage. Just moving out of the way of the much slower Combat Lord and trying to stay safe with his in return. Grom's going to go and get some regen dunning, while Nakai fruitlessly chases this guy. Could definitely get on top of these Savage Orc Error Boys. Looking around the battlefield, we've got the number 3 held by the Lizards, or by the Greenskins. Middle objective is held by the Lizards. They did win this middle fight quite convincingly. They have taken quite a bit of damage from the Error Boys, though. You can see pretty good value on all these guys. Nothing tremendous, but certainly adding up over the course of this long game. And then once they're out of ammo, Savage Orc Error Boys have decent melee attack, terrible melee defense, but they can get in and like do a little bit of damage. So it's kind of worth leaving them on the battlefield even after they're out of shots. Bork Boys getting a little bit caught up in some very mediocre combats for them. This isn't really the type of area that they want to be fighting over. Broken Tusk Mob getting manhandled right now. Only 31 models left. Only 1900 HP on top of that, and 700 value. They've got a little bit left to give, but not too much, and the Black Orcs coming in are going to have to start doing some serious work against these Saurus Warriors with shields. And they should be able to. This is a very good AP fighter. They should tear apart those Saurus Warriors there. Poor Grom has just been getting obliterated by the Solar Engine. Solar Engine, as you can see, has been kind of just shooting at Grom the entire game, which is a pretty good use out of it. Doesn't have tremendous AP on this, but it adds up over time. Does get shot blocked by some terrain there, funnily enough. It does get a bonus, though, with the flaming attacks. So that's just extra damage, and Grom getting really low, mitigating a lot of the healing he's gotten over the course of this game, and he's getting close to the healing cap. It's going to catch up to the Greenskins player a lot quicker than he thinks, and Grom really does need to just wheel back, hide in the trees for a little while, and not lose the leadership game here. That'd be pretty devastating. Dirkit Squigs running over some of the skink cohorts, but the Croxagores coming in, getting a little bit of assist there, but they're getting just laid to waste by the concentrated bow fire. Really nice targeting. Morgrim's Mangy Marauders out here on the field as well. Very good unit. Incredible AP damage on these guys. 10 AP damage per shot. Grom getting stuck up on the Croxagores, but they do break. Nakai coming in, though, and getting a massive slap there with the big paddle, man. He is definitely a, he's like an English headmaster in the 19th century. He's ready to do a little bit of punishing here. Dirkit Squigs, not a lot of HP and models on these guys, but they do get on top of a good target for them. Skink cohorts, and the wall goes down yet again, giving them a nice little boost to their combat prowess here. And look at the Teeth Robbers. Just being disruptive and rolling around the battlefield and knocking down a lot of important units for the Lizardmen. Just being very disruptive and annoying, and the Black Orcs doing a lot of damage here, but getting manhandled by the Rev Crystal, actually. Rev Crystals and the Bastiladons in general, decent bonus versus infantry. They do also cause terror. Thankfully, Black Orcs have immune to psychology, but they have been getting worked down here, and the cost efficiency so far of the Lizards, definitely enough to start getting a bit of a value lead here. 6,400 to 58. On top of that, there is the Rev Crystal that's been popping heals this entire game. Used 2 of them. That's pretty, it's a pretty nice heal, too. It's about 10%, I believe. Just a flat 10% heal on whatever target you choose. Very good on Croxagores. And just in general, really good on Lizards because they have big HP pools on a lot of their units. The Swamp Things coming out. And the Greenskins do grind back onto the number 2 objective, starting to rack up a significant number of tickets here. They did get the middle early in the game. They've retaken it here, and they're starting to do really nicely for themselves in potentially getting up to a triple cap situation for the Lizards now. Little bit of a waste on the Comet of Cassandora, honestly. Mostly just a very tattered Goblin Spear here, I believe. Orc Boy Spear. And the Swamp Things. Swamp Things, though, getting Terror Route are actually just getting a ton of leadership debuffing effects stacked on top of them. And immediately breaking. You would think that maybe their better leadership as an ROR would be helping them out, but Miasma of Despair, attacked in the rear, damage sustained, all of these effects breaking the leadership, and they might get chased off the battlefield now. Nakai doing really nicely for himself. Not a tremendous amount of value, but coming in and breaking a very expensive ROR and monstrous infantry unit that's really good at killing Bastiladons and the like, as well as grinding with a little bit of buffering on top of Saurus Spears, is a really big break for Lord Baconbane, doing a really nice job of using his SEs here to good effect. Croxagores hanging out in the middle. They've really not been able to find very cost-effective trades up to this point in the game, but doing a nice job of maneuvering across the battlefield and going to get after these Savage Orc Biggins and help out these Saurus Warriors with shields here, who are collapsing onto the rear of this Biggin unit, but the Broken Tusk Mob back out on the field, getting a collapse onto the rear of these Saurus Warriors, getting some good damage there. Grom, where did Grom go? Grom looks like he went down, unfortunately. I missed that. But that's really bad for the Greenskins. Lord fled recently. Looks like he did shatter and just rout off the field. And here we go. We've got the Bastiladon and the Feral Cold Ones making sure that these Swamp Things are not going to be coming back. This is a big loss for the Greenskins, and one that's not going to be reflected in that damage value up top there. Units that rout off, you know, they didn't feed a lot of value, but gone nonetheless, and that's just devastating. Greenskins losing a really, really important unit for them here in the fourth quarter, and it looks like the Greenskins might be starting to take over this game. Looks like another Comet of Cassandora coming down. This one, the perfect target here. Gonna nail into the Orc Biggins here. Not getting a perfectly square hit on the formation, but doing plenty of damage with the explosion to break the leadership since the Lord is gone. That extra loss of leadership definitely hurting the Greenskins here. And they are going to be breaking and fleeing in the direction of the Lizardman lines. So just grabbing a cheap Feral Cold One or something and chasing these guys down would be a really, really good use of the Lizardman's time. Broken Tusk Mob doing pretty nicely here against the Croxagores, doing their best to try and grind back some value and get the Greenskins back on top in this game. They are technically holding 2 objectives and do have a decent little ticket lead here, but without the Swamp Things. No, they didn't chase them all the way off. Swamp Things rallying on the edge of the map. You've got to make sure that you finish chases like this. That's a huge loss. I mean, you've got plenty of time to get back on objectives and secure a triple cap here in the fourth quarter if you need. But it's going to be a lot more difficult with this ROR unit just rocking back up onto the point. They're going to be very devastating, like I said, against the Bastiladons, Feral Cold Ones, even against the otherwise stalwart Lizardman infantry might have some problems with those guys. But Greenskins are very thin on the battlefield. They do not have a tremendous number of healthy units. Lizardmen looking like they're in a little bit better shape. The Bastiladon with the Rev Crystal is chasing down the Savage Orc Biggins. You can definitely just summon out a Feral Cold One from this reinforcement point, or a Skink Skirmisher or something, and finish this chase, and send the Rev Crystal back in, because it does still have 3 uses of that heal. That's going to be very impactful in the late game here. Definitely going to help secure some additional mitigation of that any value that your opponent might be getting. Good Vindictive Glares have been going down during this game. Let's see how much value these Night Goblin Shamans have. Not tremendous value on them, but they do get some good casts on the Umbral Tide, and the Orc Boarboy Biggins chasing down this Salamander hunting pack. This would be a big loss for the Lizards. They really need something quick to get over here and respond to this attack. Gotta keep running with these guys. If they get caught, they're gonna get crushed in melee. But a good collapse here with some Feral Cold Ones, and some overlapping fire from the Skink cohorts, applying that poison from the missiles. Definitely going to be getting some good damage on the Boarboy Biggins. And locking them in combat, they're really not going to be able to utilize their 70 speed as efficiently now. And they actually, looks like they're terrified. Nakai coming in here with this terror and causing a rout. And these guys' leadership is continuing to tank. Feral Cold Ones can probably just continue to follow up on them. They're running into the deploy zone for the Lizards. A little bit of fire support coming in now from the Umbral Tide, and the leadership is broken on the Boarboy Biggins. Really good response from Lord Baconbane there, getting good damage. And a bit of a mistake here, unfortunately, for brain damage. The Feral Cold Ones getting on top of these guys, supporting the Saurus Spears, and Saurus Spears are just super efficient against low armor troll-type units. This is like exactly what they want to be fighting in this scenario. 1,300 value on these Saurus Spears, too. Getting some great work done, just continuing to rack up the count for the Lizardmen, securing an even bigger gold damage deficit from the Greenskins, who are really struggling to get out onto the field and get cost-efficient trades. Lizards just slowly crushing the Greenskins now. Really close on the tickets, though. Are the Greenskins gonna be able to maybe swing this game somehow? Despite the deficit, they certainly still have an opportunity to win this match. Lots of Saurus Spears here on the middle. You can definitely, you know, the nice thing about Lizards and Skinks are very cheap. They have full cap weight. They can maneuver around pretty quickly with 46 speed. You can leave one Saurus Spear here probably, maneuver the other ones to cap objectives, and just hold, while the Skinks maneuver between to support any potential, like, just blobs moving up onto an objective to try and steal it from you. I do think that the triple cap, even just for a second, is necessary just to secure this game, because the Greenskins are getting a little bit of movement out here on the #1 objective. Squig Herds doing a little bit of damage against these Saurus Spears, chewing up on the Skink Priest of Heavens, Durkit Squigs. Not the best targeting, chasing down the rest of this Skink cohort. Could be sitting on the #1 and probably helping to cap that. Broken Tusk Mob with 11 models getting on top of the Umbral Tide, getting a little bit of damage there. Not getting the Umbral Tide when they could have was very devastating. You can see here, firing in against Grom the Paunch, getting a little bit of value. And he's struggling fighting on top of all these spears. This blob of Saurus Spears getting absurd amounts of value, an 800 gold unit, up to 1,800 here, paying for themselves 2 times over and counting. The Swamp Thing's barely hanging on by the skin of their teeth right now, and if Grom goes down to the fire from the Umbral Tide, those trolls are definitely going to be breaking here. They've got 14 leadership. If Grom outright dies, that's going to be a -16. He's down to 400 HP, 275, barely squeaking away. And with that rout, I do believe that the Greenskins player is going to be calling that just a little bit too much to ask from his remaining forces. And that's going to be a win for Lord Baconbane and the forces of the Lizardmen. Really well played stuff there. You can see some Coldwind Spear Riders out here at the end. Looks like they're all blobbed up, presumably obliterating some poor little squig that's dead on the ground over there. They're feasting, maybe. I wonder what squig tastes like. I imagine they'd be pretty good fried up, honestly. But we'll check out the values here. Nakai, not getting tremendous value, but being very disruptive, getting around the battlefield, giving those ward save buffs and the vigor reduction. So keeping the Lizardmen forces nice and fresh, and that's a very underrated tool in Dom mode, is Perfect Vigor type effects. Bastiladon with 1800 value, very nice there. Rev Crystal didn't get a ton of kills, but the nice thing is it did have that heal, and I believe most of the uses got popped there by Lord Baconbane. Probably maybe had one left there at the end. But that's pretty good value, 10% heals, and it also resurrects models, which is pretty funny, I guess. I don't know how the magic works there, but definitely increasing the efficiency of that healing, since it can actually bring back dead Lizardmen. Feral Cold One's getting good value as well. Very cost-effective unit here. And really good micro on them, just getting after the Broken Tusk Mob and the Biggins alike, running around and just being annoying. That's what they're best for, and Baconbane made full use out of the efficiency of that unit. Spear Riders struggled a little bit, but that's okay. The Spears more than made up for that. This Spear with 1900 value is just insane. Absolutely incredible performance from them. They did get summoned in twice, if I'm thinking about it, but that second go-around, man, fighting on that side objective against the Swamp Things and Grom, and just grinding out value against those very impactful units for the Greenskins, really started to put them in an even deeper hole, and definitely got brain damage into a big deficit where he just couldn't grind back in the little bit of time that he had left. But Greenskins, they did pretty nicely, just a little bit, lackluster on efficiency in some areas. The infantry really did not hold up against the front line of the Lizardmen, which is pretty difficult. These Lizard infantry are absolutely insane. I hate Saurus, Bok, and all that. But Savage Orc Airboys doing nicely. Squigherds did pretty well also. A couple of them paying for themselves decently. Maybe, I'm not sure what you would bring here. I think just playing a little bit more, I know this sounds wild, but I think playing in a bit of a tighter formation as Greenskins. I know that's not necessarily what they're best known for, but against Lizards, I think just staying in a tight formation where your archers can support against all of the dinosaurs and Nakai and everything and get really good value that way is probably the best way to play this matchup, especially against this type of build that Baconbane had. I think it probably would have done the Greenskins a lot of favors, and I think the Goblin Rocklobber would have been a really good summon in the early game. There's really no mobility that can get after it that you don't have answers to here. Feral Cold Ones and Spear Riders and Croxigors and the Umbral Tide and stuff that might be trying to get back there, as well as the Skinks, can all be run down by the Broken Tusk Mob and Durkit Squigs really well. And, you know, Spider Riders also cost-effective little roadblock before you, if you don't have any of these guys in. They can at least hold up the push while you summon out something behind them. I think it would have been really nice to have that answer to the Saurus Spears, because otherwise you're just relying on Black Orcs and Cycle Charging, and that can be really hard against a faction that has a lot of poison. You know, all of these skirmishers and the javelins can just apply that, and it makes it really difficult to get good re-engagements once you get locked in combat and you're getting sucked in that way. Anyways, guys, that's enough of a post-game breakdown, I think. I'm going to leave it off here. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. GG's. Peace.